Man, there are some new Star Wars rumors that are absolutely blowing my mind. Like, I actually think this could save Star Wars. And by that, I really mean getting the majority of the fan base excited again for what's going to be happening in the future Star Wars movies. And I know what you're thinking. Josh, you hate everything Star Wars these days, and there's no way anything is going to make your Grinch-like heart filled with joy. Wrong. So first I want to break down these new reports, which are wild as hell, and then I'll explain why this is such a big deal and could literally save Star Wars. But quickly, before we get that, I do want to address the inevitable slew of folks that are going to be saying things in the comment section like, Star Wars doesn't need save. Star Wars is totally, completely fine. And oh man, do we disagree on that point. But I guess for folks that actually do feel that way, you could take this news and what I'm about to say as maybe not saving Star Wars, but giving Star Wars a breath of fresh air and a new North Star. Something really big is coming that I think is going to change the way fans interact with Star Wars and what Star Wars will be doing in its future films. And also, you're totally wrong. Star Wars absolutely needs saving. Let's go! Now, this has a lot to do with the Ahsoka show, the Skeleton Crew show, and something that is being referred to as the New Beyond or New Space. Now, this does come from Making Star Wars, who has a pretty incredible track record on getting scoops and leaks. And in the report, they talk about how the Ahsoka series will venture into a new galaxy or unexplored distant part of the galaxy we know. Again, this is referred to as the New Beyond or New Space. This region has reportedly not been explored in past Star Wars canon, and in this unexplored part of the galaxy, the Force is viewed and used differently in that certain magic users we know may have originated from this place. And it's implied that this is where the Night Sisters may have originated from. According to this report, the person that Ahsoka is trying to track down in the second season of The Mandalorian, the lady she has the fight with the spear, yeah, that lady is associated with Grand Admiral Thrawn and apparently also has connections to the New Space or the New Beyond. And this New Beyond is apparently where Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn were sent after the events of Star Wars Rebels. And it is a place where Thrawn has been ever since that finale. In addition to all of that craziness, Making Star Wars also implies that this New Beyond is where the Skeleton Crew will take place. It's speculated that we'll see a bunch of children and Jude Law attempting to find their way back to the main galaxy from this New Beyond in the show. It's also very possible, and talked about in the report, that Ahsoka herself may show up in the Skeleton Crew because, again, both of them may be operating in this place called the New Beyond. It's also worth noting that Skeleton Crew and the Ahsoka show both filmed at the same time at Manhattan Beach Studios. And so, of course, it could be really easy to get Ahsoka to pop up over there on the set of Skeleton Crew. And oh my God, man, that is such a wild freaking idea. We had just assumed, or at least I had assumed, that Thrawn and Ezra were just in some weird part of the galaxy or in the unknown regions of the galaxy because that is where the Chiss are from. I just thought maybe that's where they would have ended up, and perhaps that's where Thrawn was in hiding. The unknown regions are obviously a big part of the sequel trilogy era, as they are referenced in many of the books, and ultimately they are where Exegol resides. And we don't know if the New Beyond is going to be in the unknown regions, but it seems as though even if it is in the unknown regions, it's a place that we haven't visited before. So you might be thinking, like, that sounds really cool and fun, Josh, but how could that save Star Wars? How is that going to get everybody back on the same page and excited about the future Star Wars movies? Well, I think the idea of the New Beyond, the idea of a place where the Force is viewed very differently than our own galaxy, and there are literal magic users. I think that kind of a fresh setting and idea is perfect for where Star Wars is currently at. I think maybe the biggest issue facing Star Wars as a brand right now is how does it navigate staying true to what Star Wars is, being familiar to Star Wars fans, while also pushing the franchise into new places and embracing new ideas. I mean, say what you will about George Lucas's prequels, but he absolutely pushed Star Wars ahead, opened up the tapestry, allowed us to think really grand ideas of what Star Wars was overall, and really recontextualize a lot of things we thought we knew about the original trilogy. Having a new setting with actual magic users that view the Force differently, and having a character as Ahsoka Tano go into that galaxy, that is such a great idea. I mean, we could see visuals we've never seen in Star Wars before. We could meet actual magic users that are casting spells and doing things that are truly mystical and terrifying, things that we haven't seen in Star Wars before, except maybe with the Night Sisters and Mother Talzin. I mean, they even speculated in the article about Thrawn coming back from this new beyond into the galaxy we know with like an army of freaking zombies or some literal magic wielding Force users. I mean, how absolutely insane would that be? That's like on a whole nother level and so different than freaking Palpatine coming back or another Jedi going to the dark side. This is a really fresh idea. And I think within a world where there's still the Force and there's still Force users and even magic users, you can play around with mythic themes that are central to Star Wars, but in a new way. But the real reason that I think this could save Star Wars is because I think this might be the tip of the iceberg of a massive plan that Lucasfilm and Dave Filoni have been working on for a long time. I was told a long time ago that Grand Admiral Thrawn was going to be brought back into canon, not just to be some cool big bad of the Ahsoka show, but to essentially be the Thanos for the next big arc of Star Wars. I mean, they want Thrawn to be a massive big bad for Star Wars moving forward. I mean, I heard that a long time ago, and I had assumed with him being teased in their hit show, The Mandalorian, and now set up for Ahsoka, this crazy fan favorite character, that was still on the table in some way. I was also told that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were moving over to the film side of Star Wars, that they were building stuff over in the Mandoverse or the Filoniverse that was going to be paid off in the Star Wars movies. We also know that Dave Filoni has a new creative position at Lucasfilm, and he is currently sitting in the writer's room for the Damon Lindelof Star Wars movie. And as I reported on Nerd Theory this week, I was told that despite Kathleen Kennedy being removed or stepping down in about a year, that she was actively developing a plan in which all the next Star Wars movies would take place in the post-sequel trilogy era and probably have a lot of sequel trilogy actors and actresses coming back to the Star Wars franchise for the movies. And I have mixed feelings on that, obviously. I mean, I think the sequel trilogy was a rough thing. It was bad overall for Star Wars, and it was just kind of a big mess up on Disney Star Wars' part. But this news about the new Beyond and it being set up in the Ahsoka show actually made me think, well, what if these new movies will be dealing with how the galaxy will deal with maybe Thrawn coming back in with all of these magical users, or perhaps you will see characters from the New Republic, including maybe Rey, maybe Poe, and maybe those characters are going to have to go into the new Beyond to try and stop Thrawn. And if John and Dave were always building for something going on in the films, it would be absolutely wild if they did this sort of new version of Heir to the Empire where Thrawn reemerges as a massive threat, even more dangerous than Palpatine, due to things that he did in the new Beyond. I mean, I'm just loving all of these different ideas. And if they really go this route, And the next several Star Wars movies all have to deal with characters post Rise of Skywalker, dealing with Grand Admiral Thrawn and dealing with this new beyond. That is the perfect combination of nostalgic, good feeling Star Wars things while also putting a new twist on the old lemon with magic users, a completely new area that we've never explored, and people that view the Force differently. It's like the perfect combination of something really fresh that would excite Star Wars fans while also feeling nostalgic because it's freaking Grand Admiral Thrawn essentially returning to the galaxy to pose this massive threat. And oh man, what kind of powers and abilities could Ezra Bridger now possess if he has spent all of this time in this new beyond, maybe even learning from the magic users there? I mean, Ezra is an incredibly gifted Force user, but man, would it be cool if he also became a magic user as well? The possibilities are so freaking cool, and I know a lot of what I'm saying is speculation based on old reports and this new rumor, but I'm just telling you guys, this has been the first time in a long time that I started to think about what Lucasfilm might actually be doing, and I got legitimately excited, and especially if Dave Filoni is a big part of guiding this story, of creating the rules for these new magic users and how this is all going to happen. I just have so much faith in Dave being able to take Star Wars forward, give us fresh and new things like the prequels did, while also having it still feel like Star Wars. So, of course, let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Smash a like on this video if you liked it. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and our live streaming channel because we give awesome nerdy things away to lucky subscribers each month. If you want to watch more, why not check out this new video I made about why the Armor Wars Disney Plus show was turned into an MCU movie.